Hey everybody. So we're starting a new unit on the ancient Mediterranean, and we're going to be making pots that are based on classical Greek pots, right? And we're going to be storytelling a little bit with that. So why are we going way back? So the classical Greeks were 500 to 300 BCE, but the Minoans and the whole Bronze Age was like 3000 BCE to like 1200 BCE, like almost 2000 years. So why are we talking about the Minoans? Well, it's a mystery. Doesn't everybody like a mystery? They are this culture that was fascinating, and they were unlike most any culture that has been before or after. It's just it's stupefying to me, and I've gone there, and a lot of the pictures that you'll see are things that I went and looked at and puzzle over, because they lived, think of a swimming pool, they lived in an area where, Egypt and Syria and Hittites and all this stuff, you have everybody around them fighting and doing this constantly. And they lived in the middle, and they somehow avoided all that. They lived for almost 2,000 years, almost completely peaceful situation. They were not only peaceful and didn't get into the fights that were around them, although there's some speculation that at the end they might have had alliances that tended to lead them on one side, which might not have been a good idea. But that wasn't really why everything came to the end. There was a perfect storm at the end of the Bronze Age. I mean, it was, talk about a fascinating area. If you want to see later remnants of it, look at the movie Troy, right? And that shows you what the Mycenaeans were like, who took over after the Minoans. But why the Minoans? They lived in this kind of really tumultuous environment, and they were fairly egalitarian with the way they treated all their citizens. They didn't applaud any kind of violence in their artwork. They were really sort of like the first bureaucracies and the first systems that helped to distribute wealth to just about everybody. There wasn't rich and poor. There were no real kings. There doesn't seem to be any violence. There's not any evidence of, overt violence as there is in almost every other culture, especially at the time. Their women were strongly applauded, strongly incorporated into everything, and were a major part of everything that went on in that culture. It was a matriarchal culture in many ways. They're incredible. And if one of the tells is that in all the amazing architecture and stuff they built, they never built defensive fortifications. It somehow didn't occur to them like, oh, we need to protect ourselves, Nope, they just had other ways of dealing with the world and with people. And largely that was trade. I think, this is my own conjecture, but I think they were the UPS of the time. They were the Amazon of the time. They were great seafarers, and they could get things all around that swimming pool of the Mediterranean for anybody, when most people didn't like going out in the middle of the ocean there. It was pretty dangerous, but they were good at it. And they are signs of the Minoans, not only in the Mediterranean, but all up in the Baltic, where the Vikings were way down into areas of Africa. If you go out Gibraltar and down, there's also signs of them out, seemingly did they go all the way to areas of India and stuff? Anyways, they were all over the place. Peaceful people, diplomatic people, and we've only known about it for a couple hundred years. So that's why the Minoans. I think it's a mystery that's worth everybody to go, huh? Really? How did that happen, and what was their culture like? So stay tuned. It's been endlessly fascinating to me, and I'm no expert, and nobody really is. I mean, there are experts about, oh, we found this, but the mystery of the Bronze Age and how the Bronze Age came to an end is a huge mystery. But at the end of it, all that big drama going on in that swimming pool all around the Mediterranean, it was all at 1200 BC. It was all rubble. Every major city, all those big powers were crushed, and there was a dark age after that for quite a long time. In other words, all the things that make a civilization a civilization. You think it's dark now and we have smoke now. Add it by 1,000, and that's the way it was. And went on for a long time before you started having things like the classical Greek culture that rose up. But they largely got a lot of their inspiration and their strategies for living from the Minoans. Their ideas about democracy, their ideas about bureaucracy, their ideas about egalitarian, as flawed as it all was, I think it started there. So, why the Minoans? Because they're incredibly fascinating. And because it's a big mystery. And maybe you want to spend some time trying to figure it out, and I will point you in directions. Okay, enough for now. Blah, 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 blah.